d4, g6, e3, bishop g7, f4, knight f6, knight f3, e6, bishop d3, rook f8, h3, queen e7, short castle, d6, rook e1, e5, f takes e5, d takes e5, d takes e5, queen takes e5, knight takes e5. d3, d6, bishop d2, e5, knight c3, knight f6, a3, bishop e7, e4, short castle, bishop e2, bishop e6, knight f3, c6, h3. d4, g6, e3, bishop g7, f4, knight f6, knight f3, e6, bishop d3, short castle, d6, d5, e takes d5, e4, c6, e takes d5, c takes d5. White didn't move, black is victorious. d4, d5, e3, e6, f4, bishop b4 check, c3, bishop takes c3 check, b takes c3, knight c6, bishop d3, f5, knight f3, knight f6, short castle, knight e4, h3, bishop d7, bishop takes e4. e4, d6, knight c3, e5, d4, e takes d4, queen takes d4, knight f6, bishop e3, bishop e7, bishop d3, knight c6, knight f3, knight takes d4, bishop takes d4, Short castle. Short castle. c5. Bishop e3. d5. Knight f3. d6. d4. e5. c4. E takes d4. Knight takes d4. Knight f6. Knight f3. Bishop e7. Bishop d2. Short castle. e3. Bishop e6. c5. d4. d5. e3. Knight c6. f4. Bishop f5. Knight f3. f6. Bishop d3. Knight h6. Bishop takes f5. Knight g4. Bishop g6 check. King d7. Bishop f7. King c8. h3. Queen d7. Bishop e6. Queen takes e6. f5. Queen d7. H takes g4. Queen d8. g3. d6. Bishop g2. e5. h3. Knight c6. e3. Bishop e6. Knight e2. Queen d7. Short castle. Knight f6. d4. Bishop e7. d5. d4. c6. e3. d5. f4. Knight f6. Knight f3. Bishop g4. Bishop d3. Bishop takes f3. d4. Knight f6. e3. Knight e4. f4. Knight f2. Knight f3. e6. King takes f2. Bishop e7. Bishop d3. Bishop h4 check. Knight takes h4. Queen takes h4 check. g3. Queen e7. Queen f1. d6. King e2. c6. Knight c3. b6. King d2. a6. e3. d6. d4. e5. Knight f3. E takes d4. Bishop d3. D takes e3. Bishop takes e3. Knight f6. Short castle. Bishop e7. Rook e1. Short castle. Knight bd2. e4. d6. Knight f3. e5. Knight g5. Knight f6. g3. Bishop e6. h4. h6. f3. H takes g5. Bishop e2. G takes h4. Short castle. H takes g3. King g2. Queen e7. King takes g3. Knight c6. d4, c5, e3, d5, d takes c5, e5, knight f3, knight c6, e4, knight f6, e takes d5, queen takes d5, bishop d3, queen takes c5, d4, e5, e3, e takes d4, e takes d4, bishop b4 check, c3, queen e7 check, knight e2, bishop d6, g3, knight f6, bishop g2, short castle, short castle, d3, d6, e3, e5, knight c3, knight f6, knight ge2, bishop e7, bishop d2, short castle, d4, bishop e6, d takes e5, d takes e5, knight e4, knight takes e4, knight g3, knight takes d2, knight e4, knight takes e4, f3, queen takes d1 check, d4, d5, e3, bishop f5, f4, e6, knight f3, h6, bishop d3, bishop takes d3, queen takes d3, knight d7, short castle, knight gf6, h3, c5, d takes c5, knight takes c5, queen d2, knight fe4, queen d1, bishop d6, e4, d6, knight c3, e5, knight f3, knight f6, d3, bishop e7, d4, short castle, d takes e5, d takes e5, queen takes d8, rook takes d8, knight takes e5, bishop e6, knight f3, knight c6, bishop d3, h6, short castle, knight d7, d4, d6, bishop g5, e5, bishop takes d8, king takes d8, d takes e5, king e7, e takes d6 check, c takes d6, knight f3, king e8, knight g5, f6, e3, f5, knight e6, bishop takes e6, knight c3, e4, e5, e3, knight c6, d takes e5, knight takes e5, knight f3, knight g6, h3, d6, bishop d3, bishop g4, knight c3, bishop takes f3, Queen takes f3. f5. Queen e2. Queen e7. d4. Knight f6. e3. e6. f4. Bishop b4 check. c3. Bishop e7. Knight f3. d5. Bishop d3. c5. Short castle. C takes d4. C takes d4. Knight c6. e4. d6. d4. e5. d5. c6. f3. Knight f6. Knight c3. C takes d5. Knight takes d5. Bishop e7. Knight takes f6 check. Bishop takes f6. Bishop b5 check. Knight c6. Bishop takes c6 check. B takes c6. e4. d6. Queen h5. e5. Queen takes f7 check. King takes f7. Knight f3. h6. Knight takes e5 check. D takes e5. Bishop c4 check. Bishop e6. Bishop b5. d4. Knight c6. e3. d5. f4. e6. Knight f3. Knight f6. Bishop d3. Bishop e7. Short castle. Short castle. h3. Bishop d7. Knight c3. e4. d6. Queen f3. e5. Bishop c4. Knight f6. d3. Bishop e6. Bishop e3. Bishop takes c4. Knight e2. Bishop e7. D takes c4. Short castle. Knight d2. d4. d5. e3. Knight c6. f4. f6. Knight f3. e5. Bishop d3. e4. Bishop takes e4. D takes e4. Knight fd2. f5. Short castle. Knight f6. h3. h5. Knight c3. Knight g4. d4. d5. e3. Knight f6. f4. e6. Knight f3. Bishop e7. Bishop d3. Short castle. Short castle. c5. h3. c4. Bishop e2. Knight c6. b3. Knight e4. B takes c4. D takes c4. Bishop takes c4. f6. Bishop b3. f5. c4. King h8. d5. d4. b6. e3. Bishop b7. f4. g6. Knight f3. Bishop g7. Bishop e2. e6. Short castle. Knight e7. Knight c3. Bishop takes f3. Bishop takes f3. Knight bc6. d5. e3. d6. d4. e5. Knight f3. E takes d4. Bishop c4. D takes e3. Knight g5. Bishop e6. Queen f3. Queen takes g5. F takes e3. d4. Black didn't move, white is victorious. Knight f3. d6. Knight e5. D takes e5. e4. e6. Bishop b5 check. c6. Bishop c4. Knight f6. Short castle. Bishop d6. f4. Short castle. F takes e5. Bishop takes e5. d4. Bishop takes d4 check. d4. d5. e3. c6. f4. e5. Knight f3. E takes d4. E takes d4. Knight f6. Bishop e2. Bishop g4. Short castle. Bishop e7. h3. Bishop takes f3. Bishop takes f3. Short castle. Knight c3. d3. d6. e4. e5. Knight c3. Knight f6. Knight f3. Bishop e7. Bishop e2. Short castle. Short castle. Bishop e6. d4. Knight c6. D takes e5. D takes e5. Knight takes e5. Knight takes e5. Knight d5. Knight takes e4. d4. e6. e3. Bishop d6. f4. Bishop e7. Knight f3. f6. Bishop d3. g6. h3. h6. Short castle. g5. F takes g5. f5. G takes h6. Knight takes h6. e4. Rook g8. E takes f5. Bishop d6. e3, d6, bishop e2, e5, knight f3, knight f6, knight d4, e takes d4, c3, d takes e3, queen c2, e takes d2 check, bishop takes d2, bishop e7, queen takes h7, knight takes h7, f4, knight f6, g3, bishop g4, e4, d6, knight f3, e5, knight c3, knight f6, d3, bishop e7, bishop e3, short castle, bishop e2, bishop e6, short castle, knight c6, h3, d5, knight takes d5, knight takes d5, e takes d5, bishop takes d5, knight takes e5.